There's things when I say, no, no.
Washed your hair, you came to school.
Yeah,
I didn't know they worked on you. You hear talk.
yeah.
I must tell
Yeah, it's very nice. No, 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 that's okay. I just that's what it is.
You know what teaches the actor? You're a teacher. You know everything.
Well, I remember my teacher said it. But that's what it was. I remember my history teacher. She knew how many Days. 50. I take my joystick. Yeah, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I don't know anything. I'm so upstairs. Oh, oh. Yeah, you can see my face already. Go ahead, it's on. Yep, it's on.
Excuse me, the junior girls volleyball team are having a big sale in grade 2A classroom. Want to support them. A big sale. Right now, going to an exhibition game tomorrow in Grand Rapids and they need our national.
Testing, testing, testing. Good evening, everyone. Let's get started on our agenda. We have a few things we want to do. Before we get started, I want to call up Conway Monroe. Conway Monroe is here. Conway Monroe has to introduce traffic safety program and awareness.
Hello, good evening. We have done 9 pages.
Sorry, I guess we're sold out of advance tickets. It's 1:20 at the door.
Okay. So I stayed up to Brussels all night. Ready with these speeches, I guess. I got asked to help really junior achievement council work with them. We have to do some traffic safety. And I'd like to thank everybody. I guess I'm their bodyguard, Indian version of Ken Blair. We've got good speeches, so I might as well start from somewhere since I want to be taking over one of these guys to us. I'm making it. Okay. Now, I've been talking to Manitoba Hydro. I was talking to Hydro to see if they can donate vests, reflective vests, and they'll get back to me. I'm asking 200 Kagano, Tigers Kagano, and 300. Kawacha, Abich, everyone is back. So even those MPI, no red, pinky, strip and chick. And what was to say, but you know, what do you think when you ship an Nigerian? There's somebody limit on you. Okay, I'm going to say something to the public. You guys can panic. When you see kids on the road, slow down, don't drive fast. It's getting we have pavement, but it wasn't made to be it's nice to see pavement which are us. Yeah, see them skating around. Yeah, smiles on their face. It's good to see. Estamos muitos me está escrito eu mais escrito. For they're just flying around on the roller blade. I'd like to thank whoever was on that project. Thank you. Okay, Derek, thank you. And we have medics here too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with Junior Achievement Council and the school. So, that was something that's not what I see from my letter. Okay. And we as parents, we have to teach and show our children road safety, to tell them to get off the road when the vehicle is coming. And to teach them not to cross, not to go in the middle. Mr. Sepan said, I know I hear you. Yes, ma'am. And make sure drivers see you. What a pump. Okay, I guess I'm going to elect him for Prime Minister. Okay, thank you.
I want to request Ken to come up. And there's a story behind all of these things that we have done. I guess we'll start with him. He can explain some of that. Then we'll finish it off with each of the councillors explaining what happened as well at the end.
Thank you, Chief. Nobody told me I was going to have to follow up behind Conway Monroe, but I did learn that apparently he's appearing nightly now. Tickets are on sale at the front door. All seriousness, I had several things I wanted to say, but one of the things that caught me a little bit out front was I was a little, I guess, inspired by some of the comments our junior council had to say. One in particular, it was Junior Councillor Walker, where he stated he wanted to change the unchangeable. And that resonated home because for the last 50 years, gravel was good enough, but we changed that. It was a very long process, and over the course of, as one of the councillors mentioned, approximately a 6-year program of steps and hurdles. It's very hard to outline all the steps, but some of the highlights started approximately 5.5 years ago when the then Executive Director of Manitoba Health, Ms. Rose Neufeld, was passionately connected to the community from a health perspective, an anti-dust perspective, and gleefully helped us gain access to then Minister Wowchuk and Minister Oswald to begin the process of pursuing government support for our road project. Rose, can you come up and say a moment?
Well, it seems a long time ago since I was able to have that meeting with 3 ministers in the government and talk about the concerns that I saw from the health perspective and all the respiratory diseases and people walking with masks and the nurses, etc., from here being very concerned. And when the road was paved, I just I dreamt it for so long, and I hoped for it for you and your community for so long, and so I just kind of parked on the end of the road and looked at that long stretch of asphalt, and I was a little bit emotional and mostly just really, really happy for your community that you can have this beautiful, beautiful asphalted roads and all of the enjoyment that can come from having the reduced dust in your community. You deserve it. You deserve it from a long time ago, but now it's here, and I was happy to be a very small part of it. There's lots and lots of people who have done the work since then, but what you need to do is plant seeds and then let them, everyone water them until you get something. So thank you, yeah, everybody that's taken part in that.
So after that phase of discussions and initial negotiations, a gentleman campaigning in 2011, I believe it was, by the name of Ron Kostician, new to pretty much everybody in these parts, picked up the ball from then Minister Wowchuk in the commitment to help us obtain the surfacing 327. 327 was pivotal in our having all the equipment and resources handy to be able to do our project. Without that project, we couldn't do ours. Not only was it support that Mr. Concession put forward, but he helped us and facilitated numerous discussions and helped us navigate around many, many roadblocks, bureaucratic roadblocks, financial roadblocks, and tirelessly up until 2 years ago when it was finally announced. He was the one that broke the news to us first. Gives me great pleasure to ask Minister Ron Kostyshin to come up for a couple of minutes and share his thoughts about the process. Ron Kostyshin, our MLA, NDP of Swan River.
Thank you so much, Ken, and it is truly a pleasure to be back up in Easterville. And I'll just go back on a little bit of history. I remember the first trip I made up here was Ken Monroe, who is from Barrows, who was my assistant that worked in the office with Roseanne Wojcik. And just a bit of humor, Ken Monroe, everybody always come from Barrows. That's the first place where the seed was planted. And from there on in, everybody moved to Easterville. Grand Rapids, I haven't proved them wrong otherwise, but so Ken and I come up here and he indicated to me, just look at what we see as far as the dust component, and truly it did bother me to see that. So ladies and gentlemen, Chief, Council, Student Council, thank you for being here, and it's very inspiring to hear the words, and it's very important when we talk about things as far as bullying and opportunities to advance in education and sporting activities. You set the stage for the future generation, and I want to congratulate the Student Council for being here, because you truly are the inspiration of the childs that are younger than you and the ones even above you, and the newborns to come sooner than later. You will set the tone, and you will be the admiration of the future of the young generation in this community. It is truly my pleasure to be here, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Premier Selinger, Minister Ashton, and Mr. Eric Robinson, and the NDP government of Manitoba, to thank you for being here. Thank you, Chief and Council, and all the executive staff that have worked so hard. And let me just say this numerous times throughout my speech. We talk about partnerships, we talk about communication. And this is a prime example where we work together, we communicate together. We're not always have victories, but we continue to talk. And we'll find solutions to help out the situation, to help out people throughout the province of Manitoba. And I just want to solidify the importance of the great working relationship we've had with Ken Blair, we have the Chief Council. You have a Chief Council that is thinking forwardly, and let's be realistic when we talk about living the dream, partnerships, because if you don't set dreams, you don't set visions. This is what you've got for council today, and you've got opportunities to build forward. I think the prime example is the drawing sitting over there, which is a deeds. We talk about the greenhouse. That to me is a sign of progress, through living the dream and living the opportunity to look into the future. I have to compliment Chief and Council and everybody else associated. My apologies, I don't mean to not recognize. I want to also acknowledge the nurses that we met with this afternoon, and Brenda gave us a very high level discussion on the importance of what is made as far as patient loads, with the roads being paved in the community. And how do you measure that, not having children coming coughing into the healthcare unit? We've seen a difference in that. We've seen a difference in entertainment, sporting activities. Kids were getting on rollerblades. Minister Ashton was up here with his daughter Nikki, and I think it was no sooner the pavement was leaving the communities, the young kids had their rollerblades on, and they're going down the street enjoying it. These are things that we talk about progress. We look into the future. And you have people such as your present council, Ken Blair, Rose, and everybody else that's been involved in it. It's the visionary that's positive, and I continue to support that. I also want to make the mention of Roseanne Wojcik. She's a well-known person in this, and I have a hard time keeping up with what she's done as far as the legacy, and I have to compliment her of her vision, and to her brother Harry Harpiak, who actually was the first MLA to widen the road. That's going back 15 years ago or 20 years ago. So it's kind of the Harpiak family, and I have the opportunity to put the icing on the cake. But I do want to recognize Roseanne Wojcik and the family of their investment and opportunities. I just want to share what our province is committed to. Last year, we've put in about $692 million invested into building, renewing, and upgrading highways, transportation, and infrastructure. We will continue to do that. As you all know, that we are going to complete the Highway Road 327 from the community all the way to Highway 60 next year. We were hoping it could be done this year, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I want to say it was my great pleasure to work with Ken in council. We had some long discussions, whether it be texting or through emails or a few breakfasts that I've had with Chief and Ken and Rose in Winnipeg, and it was very productive. I also want to acknowledge the Royal Bank who are in attendance here. Thank you, it's my pleasure meeting you as well. But last but not least, I say that it truly is my pleasure to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, elders, what we have today is the new visionary of planning, vision, determination to change the community of Easterville. And I think you should be very comfortable to see changes as you see on the pavement. And it is truly my pleasure to be here to make the ribbon cutting ceremony, but also to be your MLA. And I look forward to running in the next campaign and asking for further opportunities to work together beyond April of 2016 for another 4 years. So thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here in Easterville. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron. As mentioned earlier, Minister Ron Kostyshin, truly the kind of partner we need moving forward, and I hope everybody remembers that this coming April. I think Minister Kostyshin was reading on my notes here because my next item of recognition was the RBC. Annette and Ronnie, Annette Sabrid and Ronnie Grabline from RBC. Again, partners that we've been developing relationships with, very vital to forward movement, and been very instrumental in the solidification of our being able to carry on our part of the program.
Thank you, Ken. Good evening, Chief and Council, elders, community members, junior council, our future leaders, and our MLA. My name is Annette Sabrin, and I'm Dene, and I'm from Northern Manitoba, and I am the Vice President of Royal Bank for Aboriginal Banking for Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Northwestern Ontario, Nunavut, Yukon, and Northwest Territories. I want to thank Chief Easter for inviting RBC here today to take part in the ribbon cutting ceremony. It's such an honor to be here in your community on Treaty 5 territory. We know that this project was a huge undertaking, and we're very pleased with the great work the community did and the success of this project. I can tell you, I've been in many communities across my 3 territories and 3 provinces, and there's not very many communities that have paved roads. So I was very pleased to come to this community and get a tour and see what this community has done in terms of economic development. I was also privileged to sit down today with your leadership team and look at your economic development plan, and I'm hoping that RBC can finance more projects for this community. So I just want to thank you for inviting us to this gathering, and I just want to turn it over to Ronnie Gradlines. He's your commercial account manager at RBC, to say a few words.
Thank you, Annette. My name is Ronnie Gradlines. I'm Senior Account Manager at RBC. In my role, I look after the largest First Nations in Manitoba, one of them being CCN. And I can echo what Annette was saying, was that as I drove through CCN today and Chief Easter took me on a tour, I was amazed at how nice the roads looked. And seeing the kids out there, I saw some scooters, I saw some rollerblades, and I think it's really important for the next generation to enjoy and get some exercise. And the reason that the RBC was able to help in this endeavor was that over the last few years, your Chief and Council has worked diligently to improve your financial situation of the community. And I think they've had to make some very tough decisions during that time. And there's a lot of different departments that need money, but there's only a certain amount of money to go around. And I think you should commend your Chief and Council for doing that. As Junior Chief and Council, you will be in this side of the table soon, and you will need to do those same type of tough decisions. And I hope that you learn from your current Chief and Council. And as Annette said, later on tonight, you're going to see a little bit of a community development plan. And RBC is looking very forward to helping out and partnering in that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian and Annette. One person who couldn't be here tonight, another one of our technical relationships, his name is Kurt McCullough from Arneson Industries, and he provided support services in the way of quality control, surveying, and aggregate measurement. Kurt McCullough wishes to congratulate the community and leadership on the wonderful accomplishment of servicing the roads. Regrets not being able to be here. So we talked about how we got here, recognized our partners in getting to this stage. Now we get to recognize how we actually completed our project, which in itself wasn't easy. As Minister Kostishin mentioned, we had hoped that the 327 would be completed this year, but even though it wasn't, we still completed our community project. And that in itself is a huge, huge task and accomplishment. To start off, what I'd like to do is call up Fred Ledoux, and let's get on with recognizing the people at ground level that brought this to fruition. Freddie Ledoux. This one came in a special box all by itself. Try it on, Fred. There's the catwalk right there, Fred.
It was a long 5 years. I would like to thank Chief and Council, previous Chief and Council, everybody that was involved in paving our local roads. And I'm kind of nervous, Mr. Tomato, but at the same time, I'm excited. I'm happy for our community, and we achieved and accomplished the paving of our town. And I'm very proud of our town. And I'm very proud to be a member of GCU. Thank you.
Riding right alongside the big man, Kevin Chartrand. We're not going to make everybody walk the catwalk, but I know personally many times late at night, calling Kevin, checking where Shinokowski was because we couldn't find the contractor, get ready to go block the gravel quarry because we're not going to let him in his gravel if he's not going to do what he's promised to do. And Kevin was there all the way through. And between Kevin and Fred, one more round of applause, guys. Now we'd like to recognize everybody else that was involved because again, this was a huge undertaking and this is the time to celebrate. So if I can get Kevin and Fred to stay up here with me. I'd like to start off with top of the list here, no particular order, Clarence Thomas. Next, Gary Easter. Leonard Umperville. Councillor George was asking how we know that the jackets are going to fit. Wild guess. Lucius Easter. Irvin Valentine. Tristan Easter. Lynette Thomas. Ronald Charchi. David Lavely. Jane Mary Gibson. Roland Thomas. Sandy Lavely. Alvin Lavely Jr. Ardell Campbell. Peggy Captain. Errol Lachos. J.B. Gott. Steve Turner. Henry Barassa. Wade Hegemule. Tyrell Patrick. Donna Lavely. Darlene George. Oh, sorry, Miss Trina Bruce. Justin Keymatch. Leslie Arrow. Thompson Young Jr. Desmond Lavely. Warren Stevens. Rosina Captain. Darrell Captain. Ronald Paginos. Laurent Ledoux. Vincent Ledoux Jr. Well, apparently we've got a Conway Monroe that's trying to self-employ himself to a jacket. I think everybody understands the magnitude of this project, just listening to the people. If Chief of Council had also already mentioned that we had several councils involved in the process of this project. And there were 3 councillors that were involved, ex-councillors, sorry, that were involved in this project, very instrumental as well. I don't know how many are in the building, but Kenneth George, Albert Paco, and Jeff Thomas. One more time, this was community-wide, a huge benefit to the community, but also something for everyone to be very proud of. We did what everybody said we couldn't do. Congratulations.
I think comments by councillors. Any further comments about the road?
Thank you again, Chief. Next, come to stay at the Scaniac. I don't give myself full credit. I almost like I'd like to thank Kenneth, Kenneth George, Jeffrey Thomas, and Albert Paco. You guys did a good job. You have the thank you guys. Questa minute ne stiamo fatto a Big Roots, ma questo non è che ci sono altre cose. The discussion done, we might do it. Street lights come to we're in the process of planning. I can't guarantee you, I can't promise you, but we as a group, we have to sit down together and together street lights against to be adequate to buy our jobs. That was it. Thank you. God bless. Thank you again.
Thank you. But as you can tell, the roads are not all complete yet. There's going to be a painting. I think it's in the spring. I'm going to have bilingual sign with the Cree English. And the other thing too is that there's been quite a few kids outside that's broken bones already, and I don't think that'll ever stop because they like to live dangerously, our kids. And for the parents to maybe consider these kids are having light skates, and maybe try and teach them safety, and especially helmets to get sky, because once they get hurt, obviously it can't be reversed. So let's pay attention to safety. Thank you.
Well, meron na akong schizophrenia na naging mag-yes. Ano yung discount din, namin yung pet-12, pet-12 ka din. Wanon sa'yo, si pet-12 ka din, si Brisbane. Kung hindi na sumanas, kung hindi sila na sumana, ipo-follow at mampu, hindi na siya. Tanto na si schizophrenia no. Kaya itong pera, hindi tamago, ito tayo nagtasi ka, mahirat ang pagit naman. Kasi ngayon, iabot yung school. Thank you.
Well, I think enough's been said about the celebration, about our partnerships, our working together. The question now comes, where do we go from here? We got our junior chief and council who we'll be working closely with. We got our partners that we'll be working closely with now and in the future.
We got these paved roads. You know, it's a wonderful thing when you know, it's been said already a number of times here. We can just go out and you're not chewing on dust. We can just go out and you know you can see across the street. You can watch your kids in the yard. You know, our grass is not gray or dusty anymore. It's you know, it brings out the color in the community. You know, we have a beautiful community. We have, you know, we have a thing that for those that have grown up here and have lived through all of these potholes. I used to say that our roads look like the surface of the moon because it was nasty at times. But now we got the kids that are coming up. They won't know. They won't understand the meaning of this project because they'll just wake up. They'll be, that was here all my life, and they won't know. So we as leadership, we have to give them something more. We have to bring in industry. We have to bring in something. And that's what we'll do together. With your help, we'll do that. But we all need to have a vision. Our junior chiefs and council, they already have a voice. They've started to speak to you now. They will continue on speaking to you. And they will, you know what, they'll show us what our world will become when we're old and gray. When, you know what, when I can't work, I'll be looking at them to take care of me. And I sure as hell hope you guys take care of me. I'm getting heavy. Anyways, thank you very much. I want to go home now. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, here, going back to the 6 years back when we started this project, I'd like to say we're all over the place. Like we were up in Northern Manitoba asking questions about paving. We didn't know it. We didn't know. I always thought paving was just clear it, put a coat on, that was it. It's way more than that. The first time people started telling us, professionals, people that do paving, they told us that we had to do the culverts and the ditching first. I'm very proud of our local guys here. They did an awesome job with Freddie and Kevin, and they did the limited sources they had with limited equipment, but they did it. We didn't even know, like I said, we didn't even know like what paving was. When we started talking about paving, I didn't know what A-base was, C-base, crowding. I didn't know what that was about. Like I said, I thought it was just clearing the road, widening it, and paving it. It's way more work than that. That's why I'm proud of these local guys, the heavy equipment guys, and everybody that was involved. Then there was another project, we were gonna pave it. I think we're gonna, what was that product called? When we went to Saskatchewan. Oh, I can't say that word, but it's something different. It was cheaper, but we went the other way around. But yeah, I'm very proud of being a signing that agreement, the finished product of our roads. I'm very honored that I signed that paper today with Chief and Council. I also like to thank Ken and Chuck Thomas, Albert Paco for being involved in that, and also Ken. And those surveys we did last year, I think a few people suggested that we bank. A lot of us wanted a bank here, and RBC's got his eyebrows here, so there might be something ahead here pretty soon. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody that attended here today, Chief and Council, other guests, Chief and Council, ladies and gentlemen, elders. This is a very special day, and with that, I'd like to thank everybody. It was a good night.
Also like to acknowledge Farin Wan, our CFO. Stand up. Yeah. She did lots of work, she kept track of all the money, and, you know, him and Freddie fought a lot. This, you know, there's lots of money going back and forth. I know, but the project was hard to do. You know, we couldn't have done it by ourselves. That's why we needed help. I want to thank Ken for being there as the project manager. You know, he advised us on every turn. But the guy, last year, he bet that was in a contractor, Stukuski. Which I told him, anyway, I got the bet that it's a good ticket. Ayun. Sige, dyan. Mana na ito. Mana naman ito tabi ko. Walang magan. Sa ginawa tabi ng pantig ako niya. At sila po ibenta ko sa nitigi. Tapos isisagot. Isisagot pa rin niya. Kasi niya, wala sa pinagitigi. Panahal mo na si Tuto. Last year, so was sa tagibot naman. Mocha po ito si Tamaga na kasi. Hindi siguro pa mawagista na kasi niya dapat siya ako tumas ka na. Ang matsigi po ang iso pa ang po na School of the Tamaga and anyhow, a city. So, we achieve stay with most of it. I want to call up Ken Blair to accept a small token of our appreciation for his involvement in managing our project and without going astray and on budget.
Jets, Sox.
You know, paving the road is only the beginning. You know, we have a lot of things that we need to do to bring our community up to a standard, right? That's good to say that kaganagan want that to start. Kaganagan want to give out that. That's good. Kaganagan that we need. We should have every service, every commercial development, everything that Winnipeg should be here as well. So we should build all those things here, and the reason why I say that because that's what we're doing with South Shore and doing the community plan update. I want to call up Short Shore, Barbara, Samantha, and Lorraine to come up and do their plan update. Hopefully it's how long? Toma, ewan that would si pariho ewan na kimsita as example sa video sita na ito as kaya we need to build up our water treatment plant. And this mistake dapat sita na ni that tugis ka sa mayo and mo the water treatment plant kaya sa yo at tiyaw tipigo pa niyo. Kung mo siya ko ni piyo at yung siya pa rin na tanong tiyak pa na ni piyo. Awal ma'am, at si usawa kami ko manipiyas ko. Kaya ka ni ma'am, ma'am, estipigan pa rin ni ma'am po. At timesya pa ka naman yung pino. Tutagya po, sita kayo, at timesya pa ni kayo. Ano manipisya, ma'am, sabi siya kayo, dapat sita na no, tagaya. So, we need to build those up. We also need to build other community infrastructure. Tagaya. So, I'll let Barb, Samantha and Lorraine do their presentation on community update.
think we're just gonna try and get the lights.
Testing.
Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Hopefully you guys can see that, so there was a break there. Okay, so my name is Samantha. I'm with South Shore, and my coworker is Fire right there. And we're here to present an update of our community development plan. As well, we've been working with the lands manager, Lorraine Young, and she's gonna come present some slides too. As well, we have, we're gonna have Rose up here from Health to kind of show some slides about the youth center. So just a little overview of what we're gonna cover. We're gonna talk about why we're doing this plan, and we're gonna update you on the communication strategy. We're going to jump into land management as well as the constraints with the land management. And then Barb's going to finish up with servicing the community and zoning. So planning is so important because you need to have a comprehensive idea of where you're going in order to progress. So a community has many aspects to it as shown in the slide here, and they all need to work together. So as you gain resources and move forward in one aspect, you know how it will apply to all the other aspects of the plan. So for the communication strategy, we understand that it is very important for the community development plan to reflect the views and the values of the members. So in order to do that, we've been trying to engage with the members through a variety of means, such as surveys and questionnaires, as well as the focus groups that we just held. So just a little background, earlier this year in spring, we held our first survey to gather some general feedback from the members. Some of the highlights from that was recreational development, housing, as well as economic development. And the main takeaway from this survey was that members want to see development within the community. So moving forward, we held focus groups, and the goal of this was to sit down face to face with members in small groups to discuss the plan, answer any questions, and gather specific feedback. So we broke the groups up by demographics, by age, gender, and employment status to make sure everyone felt comfortable to speak freely in these sessions. So there was a lot of information gained from these focus groups. I tried to narrow down to keep our presentation short. So these are kind of the highlights, the key trends that came across all the different focus groups. So housing was a big one, the quality as well as the quantity of houses. A lot of young adults want to see starter houses, and the teachers are very concerned about the number of teacherages in the community. As well as for healthcare, people want to see more healthcare specialists brought into the community more frequently, including not just physicians, but dietitians and optometrists and other types of health specialists. For recreation, it was almost solely focused on the youth, having activities and sports programs for them. And for economic development, people wanted to see a grocery store as well as a bank. So this is, at the same time we did the focus groups, we also followed a questionnaire. That was to gather specific data that we could tabulate into tables. So I'm going to quickly go through some of these tables and just show the highlights. For healthcare, there was overwhelming support for an elders care home. For community services, people wanted to see a youth center, a community hall, as well as an elder care home. Recreation, the focus was on walking paths and playgrounds. And for economic development, the focus was on grocery stores and restaurants. And industrial development was focused on gas stations and car washes. So now I'm going to call Lorraine up just to talk a brief second about the land registration process.
That's it. Kanina one, while I read off the slide. Ayo, umayo ka pagsasaga, kaya yung sa spinaw, yung we see how if you want to have a business, we have a process under our land code that which is Sama. So if you have an interest, you submit a letter to chief and council, and then they in turn give it to me, and then and then I'll give you an application to fill out. And then there's a $25 fee that you pay with your application. And then from there, I go through either, it depends on how big the project is. It'll either go through a meeting of members or just chief and council approval. It will depend on who would mind your project. If it's going to be a big project, then it'll have to go to a community meeting, and then the membership will approve it. Whenever the OJ will give you a draft instrument, we can draft up a lease, a permit. It depends on the kind of license you're requiring. And then from there, the council will review whether it's a permit or a lease. And whenever the OJ will approve it. And then there's fees associated with the if you're gonna have a big project, like if you're gonna have a business and you're building from scratch, and there'll be a lot of costs associated with it. And whenever the OJ, once that's done, the council, BC are going to seek out to approve your, giving you the go ahead and continue with your business. That's it. One more? Right. Okay, we have Ayala feedback. The governor of land code gives us the authority to enact laws or bylaws. That's if they say we look at the and then there's also the Indian Act, Section 81 bylaws that gives power to chief and council. Bylaws regarding traffic control, nuisances. But then again, there's nothing preventing the chief and council to be able to develop the same laws that they can under the Indian Act, under the land code. They have the same power. And I'm getting nervous. Just kidding. My throat is getting dry. I have a cold, but they don't believe me. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine. Okay, so with the community, there's some restrictions with development. Within a community, there's, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Yeah, excellent, thank you for that. So with the development, any development, there's particular constraints with where and how and what you can develop items. With your community, you have the Cedar Lake to the northwest, the marshy lowland to the south. You have the lagoon and the airstrip to the north. You have your water production wells just to the southwest. And on top of all that, you've got the Easterville boundary to your west, southwest, and you have Spokane. So there's a lot of restrictions with how and when and where you can develop certain aspects of the community. In addition to that, there's something called areas of potential environmental concerns, APEX is what we're going to call them, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about those in the next couple of slides. In addition to some of the constraints that I already mentioned, I just want to draw some attention to the topographical challenges in the community. The yellow in the center, and this was right here, is the highest part of the community, the crown of the community. It slopes to the side, marsh lowland, and to the lake. On the other side, where there's marginal soil in the area, and more areas than not, you just exposed bedrock. Talk a bit about APEX.
Go back to your next, your last slide there.
Yeah.
What do the colors mean?
The colors, those are elevations. So those are elevations in the community, with yellow being the highest elevation, going on this chart here. So areas that were blue would be even higher, and the purple, red, and orange below the yellow are low. You can't see the numbers on the side here, but these are 270 something up meters in elevation. So the yellow here is here, and then everything kind of ranges below that. Very like 40 feet difference in elevation from the center of the community to the edge. So for the APEX, areas of potential environmental concern, in 2009, a phase 1 study was started, and this list of APEX was developed through NANCY, and I understand there was possibly some meetings held in the community to kind of help develop that list. In Old Post, there's one area here. We have the list. If anyone's interested in what these areas are and what degree they're contaminated, we can talk afterwards, go through the list, but not to kind of, in the essence of time here, we'll kind of keep moving along. In Maine community, there's about 30 different APEX in the community within the reserve, as well as a couple outside the reserve. This here, and then of course the Lucky Star gas station. The purpose of showing this to you guys today is to show that these red spots or blocks or areas on the map are areas where they can't be developed. Until these areas are cleared as being non-contaminated areas, then they open up to yourselves and then us as well to develop on. So as you can see, there's quite a number of areas within the reserve boundary that are areas of non-development at this stage. We understand the consultant that is doing this work is, I mentioned in 2009 this phase 1 started. 2011, 12, 13, and 14, there's been phase 2 reports done on these sites. And we are currently waiting for the 2014 report. Hopefully that's going to offer some solution as to the status of these APEX, and then that will open them up for development for you. So Mile 13 and Denboy Point also have a couple of APEX on them down here, and then there's the gas station, and then which is a dump site that is also been listed as the APEX. Sorry. So when it comes to the areas of potential development constraints, boundaries for the reserve, existing infrastructure, there's limited areas for potential future opportunity. So what we've done here is kind of flag some of the highlight areas for what we know now. This is going to be a living document. It'll evolve over time, become more refined. Next time you see this slide, areas might, for land use, might be somewhere else for discussion. Infill housing, as you know, being members of the community, this area here is a fully piped system area of the community, so we're going to try to encourage high water usage and home infill housing and new development in this area of the community. This here is still, there's lots of excellent area for housing and development, but again, because it's a hauled site, we're going to try to encourage development to the south. Yellow is noted as health, being a health center, future nurse residence, crisis housing in this network here. New teacherages just along the back. As I mentioned, new infill housing. Maintenance yard in this area. Maintenance yard is high water usage. So because there's existing water mains here, proposing potential car wash in that area as well. Commercial development in the area. Existing, kind of expanding on what's already there. It's having a commercial zone, so to speak. Standing for you guys here. Something that came out of the youth focus groups was a request for a traditional meeting center. So this traditional learning center, a place where young people can go in addition to the youth center, where they can learn more traditional teachings, outdoor living, camping, hunting. State cleaning was something that was quite a common feedback that we received. And in addition to that, a traditional meeting pavilion in this area, location of the old school foundation. Potential new water treatment plant. There is a requirement for expansion of the existing. That would go behind the existing water treatment plant to reduce cost for construction, using as much of the existing infrastructure as possible. And then, of course, the potential of a new band office right along the main road, which is the first face-front item when you enter the community. So I mentioned the youth center. I want to invite Rose up, and she's going to talk a little bit about some of these wonderful pictures that you see around for the youth center.
Okay, hi everybody. I was just asked to speak briefly about the project that we're working on. You've seen the pictures, and I'm really, really glad that you're here as the junior chief and council, because a lot of this, what I'm going to talk about, impacts you. About a year ago, one of the ways that you can do new projects and development is through grant funding and proposal funding. About last August, I think, Chief of Council received a letter inviting proposals to the tobacco control strategy, which the federal government puts out once every 4 years. And there was a large chunk of money, lucky to get it. So they asked me if I would submit a proposal for that. But in order to do a good proposal, it's really good to get community input so that the proposal is actually expressing what the community wants. So I don't remember last February, last October, Warren Vandell came around and was doing focus groups in that and asking the youth a lot of questions about what you would like as youth in the community. And there was also focus groups for adults that people attended. And from all of that, we took the ideas that you as a community wanted, and particularly you as youth wanted, and overwhelmingly the community wanted to have something more to do with youth. And so we submitted that proposal, and we were very, very fortunate to get a fairly large chunk of money. And with that, we could actually do something. So the next thing that we realized is that in order to do programming and have regular programs and build, have places that kids know on this night, or adults on this night, this is happening at this place, it's good to have a center. And so the Chief of Council asked the Thomas family if we could develop the Blue Church. And the Thomas family was very gracious in providing that. Their vision had been that it would be something to do with the community and healing and restoration. And so we will still have a grand opening for that youth center one day when we and invite them and honor them that day. But right now, I just want to show you what the plans are for the youth center. How do I get the thing so I can point and have fun? Okay, so what we're doing, you probably see this deck getting built already on the outside. In the inside, we've validated, we're starting to put up walls.
And when they were doing the paving, I asked them if they would pave this, all the people who paved, and they said they didn't know for sure if they'd have money to do that. So I sent my first emoticon of my life, and it was a little face, froggy face. So then they knew I really wanted that paved. And I think that's really important because we're going to put up some basketball hoops there, and use that area for street hockey and things like that, so that there's a lot of people talking about safety, and that way you're off the streets, but you can still use that area. And over here, we're putting up a greenhouse. That was another proposal. This proposal, we put in a proposal for something for elders to do, and Desmond, Martin and I, Desmond's at the back, and Desmond and Martin and I submitted a proposal. We wanted the elders to be able to teach the youth about the gardening and how to grow food and preserve food, which is part of the past. And so this is to be a center where elders can teach youth about growing foods, preserving, and in here, there's going to be a little deck, and what Desmond's vision has been is to be able to have some benches, a little garden area here to sit and enjoy the outdoors in the summertime, just a place to hang. And inside, we're going to have a fairly large kitchen so that we can have programs to do teaching, cooking. This main part in the middle is going to be an open area, a place to have a movie night, great big floor to ceiling screen, and in the back some meeting rooms and storage for any equipment you want. So Desmond and Maria and Darlene, if you want to just stand for a second. These guys are they're working the youth program. It's called They're working very hard, but what they want to do is meet with you regularly so that the program they develop with the money that we were given is programming that you want and that you feel you need. And so your teachers, your principals have worked with Desmond and I and others, just saying that that's what they want to do. And they want to meet with you regularly, so this is our opportunity. I think we had one more photo. So it's kind of looking like that from the road. This is, I think this is what Ken Blair drives. Here's me passing. Okay, so the main thing I want to say is thank you to everybody for all the effort you put into this. This is an idea. This is a very good example of where, yes, if you work hard and you put your ideas down, we can make something happen. And I really want to emphasize that this is for the youth and for programming for your community. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why would you, what is the reason for putting a greenhouse behind the center?
Well,
wouldn't you find a different location for it?
So what are you thinking?
Because I'm saying, the reason why I say this is because my mom has a flower pot by her windowsill.
Yeah.
And then when kids walk by, the smaller ones, they tend to just pull out the flowers out of the bed itself.
Well, I think that one of the
and this way, and here, right here, it will be close to the youth center, and they'll have very easy access.
Well, one of the things that people were saying is that it would be a really great youth and elder project to teach the respect for plants and all of that, so that gardens don't get pulled out. That was one of the things that we heard, which would be a good reason to put things together. The other thing is elders can also be able to just access right through that door and go and use facilities like the washrooms or make tea and have meetings and.
So it will be more than a youth center.
We're calling it a youth center because there's going to be a lot of programming there, but we also want to be able to do like sewing classes, education classes, prenatal. So kind of used all day long. So elders can use it in the morning for elders tea or any meetings they want. The afternoon you might have some. It depends what you as a community want to do for programming in there.
Okay, I would like to change the name of the youth center to All Generation Center.
You know what, and we're just calling it a youth center, but I think that you as a community should name it. I was calling it that because we put that into the proposal. But yeah, good points. Thank you for raising those. Any other questions?
Carry on with the rest of the slides. All right, well, we saw a bit about the potential for the community growing and where those potential zones could occur within the community. Those areas need to be serviced, so we're going to talk a bit, very high level, kind of brush through some of the serviceability of the community, housing, groundwater supply, water treatment, wastewater, as well as the waste disposal grounds. So how is the community going to grow? We looked at potential growth percentages for the different groups within the community, members being a growth of 3%, non-members making up RCMP, your nurses, your teachers at a growth of 4%, and the Eastville community, which does share part of the infrastructure, a growth of 2%. All three, members, non-members, and Eastville do contribute to the landfill and the lagoon. The water treatment plant, though, only are the members and the non-members of the community. Eastville has their own water. So looking at, in addition to that, new housing requirement in the community, there's a couple of different ways we can look at this. We looked at it as taking the number of homes as a starting point and the population and figuring out the person per dwelling, which gives us roughly a 5 people per dwelling. That there's many ways you can do it. That's just equalized across the board. We know from our experiences through our community development plan and talking with the chief and council that there are dwellings that have multiple dwellings that have 1 person, and there are multiple dwellings that have 10 to 14 people living within it. So taking that into account and working with chief and council to what exactly is the housing demand for the community and addressing the shortage will be part of the infill and the new housing development. I want to note that what this doesn't take into account, though, is assuming that we need 232 homes within the next 20 years. It doesn't take into account any major renovations or redevelopment within the community as well. So this summer we had Reason Drilling come down. We did a condition assessment of your well waters, and that your wells for your groundwater supply to water treatment plant. What that involved was pulling the casing, the piping, doing a visual inspection, doing a condition assessment of the well pumps, doing some pump tests, dropping a camera down to inspect the condition of the well casing. And you can see here, taking some pictures, I don't know if you notice this debris in the bottom of the pipe, and this red sludgy water, that's very high iron water coming out of your water wells. What we found, what we knew to be true from the surface was that the wells were installed equal distance apart. The drawings that we have, the wells are 140 approximately feet deep. They're all equal distance. That was confirmed with the well inspection that the wells are all the same depth. And the wells do all have the same size and pump, which is unique to this type of installation being rock. The water is drawn into the cracks of the rock. I'm going to touch a bit on this here, some of the challenges with that. What they found was that, well number 1 is not performing. It's providing very little water to the water treatment plant. So the pump that is in there is oversized and is breaking suction when it is called to duty. Well number 2, which is the center well, is performing the best, but still not as much water as originally assumed from previous historical reports that it should be providing. Well number 3 is underperforming, probably about half of what it should be, according to the records that we have. So what happens when you turn a pump on, the water gets pumped to the bottom, it gets sucked up to the top, it's pulling water in through the cracks. So over time, those cracks fill with dirt and debris, and if all the pumps are at the same level, drawing water from the same elevation, that encourages those cracks being filled. The pumps start to compete for water, which happens here. You can see that this red line is each pump that is turned on at the same time is competing for water. That increases oxygen into the bottom, increases your iron, which is where you get the red sludgy water. That was confirmed from the images when we did the pump test. Ultimately, our findings is that the pumps themselves are oversized for what the wells can provide from a water perspective. And further investigation is required and ongoing to look at rehabilitating and increasing those the well fields. What is the capacity though? The water treatment plant currently is designed to provide this level of flow, which is 6.9, roughly 7 liters per second for just simplicity. This fluctuation is the raw water and treated water. Every day, where it takes a sample, it's recorded. We graphed it out. This is the average of the design plant. This is the water usage. You can see the plant was designed to provide this much. It's being pushed to the limits. It's producing approximately 71,000 extra liters per day to meet the demand of the community that it was originally designed for. So basically, the plant is very old. We realized that when we did the water and wastewater assessment in the summer. It's about 20 years old. It's malfunctioning. There's mechanical failures, valve failures. The reservoir is being challenged to the max to keep up with the water demand in the community. And it is, although it is treating water to a potable level, it is being pushed to the limits of the treatment capacity. The filter media is becoming dirty, for lack of a better word. So knowing that what the future demands are going to be for the community for a long-term development perspective, taking into account encouraging industry to come, the growth of the community from a population perspective, as well as providing a commercial infrastructure like the car wash we saw, the water providing for the maintenance or restaurant, those types of things, laundromat, our water demands. We take those all into account. What would a water treatment plant look like? Well, we kind of put one together and we kind of placed it on the property and made sure it would fit behind the existing water treatment plant. And it does. And this new plant, there's a couple of reasons to go behind the existing water treatment plant. There's critical tie-ins that can be avoided or cost minimized. Sometimes a lot of cost goes into tying in a new plant to an old plant. Keeping the existing infrastructure, remember that force main comes in here, providing raw water to that water treatment plant here. And there's lots of room. You can't even see the two bridges yet here, so that walking path is still excellent too. Provides full redundancy. It takes into account the reservoir from the existing water treatment plant to keep the size at a minimum. And it also takes into account to keep costs down a 10-year design. Keep in mind a 20-year demand, but with a 10-year design with expansion to a 20-year. And I'm kind of elaborate on that. This is a repeat slide. I already kind of jumped the gun and talked a bit about what the flow is going to be involved. But the flow of the plant, for what it would look like for 20 years for growth of population and providing industry growth. These flows are included in that drawing that I just showed you. Bottom line, with the capacity, that graph, with the current demand is well over the existing capacity of the plant in order to allow growth in the community. That existing water treatment plant needs to be looked at further, providing new to meet your demands for capacity for growth. So a new water treatment plant roughly would look kind of like this, same as the existing reservoirs underneath. This reservoir would be tied into the existing reservoir. Right behind it, that reservoir demand keeps this top building small. It's not that much bigger than the existing building because we're using the reservoir from the existing plant. This is a plan view. These three filters would be put in place, very similar treatment to what you have now, but this filter would be put in place to meet future demand, that 20-year design flow. It also offers a washroom facility, workshop, chemical room, electrical room, mechanical room, lab, those types of features to make the operator's life a little bit easier. Talk a bit about the wastewater lagoon. It goes in hand with the water treatment plant, of course. The lagoon was constructed in 2002 with the same concept of a 10-year design expanded to a 20-year design. There's challenges of understanding what that design flow is because the wastewater flow is currently not metered. We're kind of basing it on numerical flow, but it is treated to your effluent limits. Bottom line is a water treatment plant and a wastewater plant, what comes in must go out. So if the water treatment plant is reaching its capacity, so eventually will the wastewater at a faster pace. So what this shows is that if this water treatment plant is increased within the next 5 years for a new plant, the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant is also reaching its limits of its 10-year design. It's important takeaway here is to move forward to start measuring what that wastewater flow is to get a true representation of that life of the wastewater itself. Waste disposal ground is shared between the two communities, East Trail and CCN. It's on provincial and federal jurisdiction. It is currently exceeding its operating capacity. That's well known. The environment officer has done numerous site inspections over the last numerous years. Reported here some of what were in those reports: improper waste dumping, extensive wind blown scattered debris, and I just threw a picture up here to kind of help represent that. No perimeter fence and uncontrolled access. So ideally, it would be great to convert that waste disposal ground to a future waste transfer station, ultimately knowing that there's going to be a regional waste disposal ground. If you're going to transfer something, you need a place to transfer it to. Manitoba Conservation, the regulatory authority for the disposal ground. They've said they're not inclined to provide a new waste disposal ground within the north, working with decommissioning and cleaning up the existing and converting it to waste transfer station is their new mandate. So knowing that, with the potential of a regional waste disposal ground coming in the future, looking at a phased approach from this waste disposal ground to a waste transfer station. What that does is it kind of offers up a bit of a deferring for the community. From a phase 1 perspective, things can be done very easily, doing a debris cleanup, implementing a recycling collection program that can be taken to the fall, waste segregation signage, a little bit more dedicated areas that would appease the regulatory board. Maintenance hours, operator, install a perimeter fence, gate around it. And then when that does, it defers to phase 2, which is in the far future, when that regional waste comes into play, defers the costs of installing the transfer bins, which would look something like this from a section view. Here's a drawing of a plan. You've got your 3 bins, and you guys would need all 3 bins, even with the pretty aggressive recycling program. So these 3 bins, A, B, and C, would be hauled out every second day, one to the next, and we haul to where that regional waste dump is. It gives you time to defer costs for constructing a burn area, install piezometer wells for the decommissioning plant, as well as a permit. A permit's required to transfer waste disposal ground to a transfer station. So it defers some of those costs and still appeases the province. We've talked a lot about it and talking about a bit of the traffic plan. The asphalt has been a very celebratory discussion tonight. Here, putting together a nice pictorial for everyone here is some of the speed zones in the community. Putting in the purple area being a 40-kilometer speed zone. The red being the 50-kilometer speed zone. And then showing the 327K speed zone as well. The blue in the center here is the reduced school zone. I'm just going to go in a little bit further here. It's going to be Vickery Road as a reduced speed zone where there's going to be ample signage to notify drivers, having crosswalks, stop signs. It was mentioned earlier to have the Greek and English language, as well as the speed reduction zones in the area. So with that, thank you very much for those that were left behind.
And that's the reason why we need to have a community plan, because we need to deal with our garbage. We need to deal with our sewage. We need to deal with our water supply. Because our water treatment plant is not able to provide us water in the amounts that we use every day. And we have to start measuring the sewage that's going to the sewage treatment plant so that we have enough in the next 10 years, 20 years. And we also need to deal with garbage. Right now, we don't have anywhere to dump. The province has sort of closed the landfill site. So, you know, but we still keep dumping there, but it's not being allowed. Provinces have given Istruville a few penalties already. So we propose that we build a regional dump on Highway 6 and 60 and number 10. So that's been proposal, and we're working on trying to get that started. So our last thing on our agenda, to get it going yet, which would be our audited financial statements. I don't think it'll be too long. I think it's just a couple of pages. But most of those will be handed out to each household as soon as they can get copies made. Because we just signed it this morning, and copies will be made and delivered to each home. So Claudine will present that. A few more minutes. I think we're holding up bingo too. So, but bingo won't start until we are done here.
Bill promised me that everyone saw that tier gets $5. So congratulations to everyone. That's for me. Thanks, Bill. It's time to show up and get Yeah, RBC's are available.
Well, I'll just start anyway, since trying to work on that. Yes, Chief Counsel just signed the auditor's financial statements just today. The auditor showed up. Back in June, when I presented the preliminary March 31, 2015 financial statements, it was looking like we have a deficit of around 1 point. Oh, you got it. Thank you. There we are. Oh. We projected actually a deficit of $1.9 million that was going on, but that also excluded the Development Trust and the Resource Trust. And as you know, the Development Trust has a substantial amount of money and there's a lot of earned income, but I do not record those in the financial statements on a consolidated basis. So when we finally got the audit all said and done, the audit shows a deficit of almost $500,000. So that's a great improvement from what I had projected. So including the Development Trust, the Resource Trust, this has certainly improved the financial situation of the community, so that's great to see that being achieved. Also in the audit, we received a clean audit. The auditors indicated that everything materially has been reported in the financial statements. Nothing's been missed or anything like that. So it's good that we got another clean bill of health on the audit. Doing a comparison to the previous audit, we just take 2 seconds here. So the next slide here will be actually a draft copy of the consolidated profit and loss. There, it's coming right there. You maybe make it a little smaller. But doing a comparison between 2014, which you see on the right side, to 2015. In 2014, you see right down there at the bottom, way down at the bottom, there's showed a surplus of $2.6 million. Whereas, like I said earlier, we have projected we got a deficit here of $500,000. Now, the biggest things that contributed to that serious, significant difference is the Manitoba Hydro. Manitoba Hydro gave us $500,000 extra last year compared to this year, and with the road project, hate to say it, yes, it cost a lot of money. Kevin, you beat up our equipment. Stop that, Kevin. You guys listen to me. But the cost for the road repairs put a serious amount of repairs and equipment that we had to do to keep the roads getting done. I know Ken certainly wanted to make sure it got done, so there's certainly a lot of repairs that had to get done to the equipment. So the Public Works Department got a serious hit this year as well. And Mr. Fred, if he was still around, as you know, there's been so much work being done in the house, and you guys should be really proud. Tin roofs, doors, windows, that all cost us an extra $200,000. So therefore, between the 2 different years, a lot of more projects are getting done, which is awesome. And I'm sure we're going to see something coming from the junior chief next year. Some project going on, so that's great. And like Chief said earlier, everyone's going to get a copy of the complete audited financial statements here in the next couple of weeks. They'll be dropped off at every household. So if you have any questions, everyone can go see Bill for their $5.
So, looks like everybody has gone to play bingo. But if anybody here has any questions, I mean, we can entertain a few questions, I guess. What kind of questions?
I got a question. It's about the internet. I think you said make it a little bit more faster. That's why I need internet faster.
Okay, I'll put 2 motors on it. I don't know how to answer that question, but I think I don't know anything about that. We have to ask how it's going. Like, I really don't know how it works. I know that they say it's supposed to be a high-speed internet. When it's slow, I have to ask the people that know what it is.
It only goes like high speed to 6 a.m. to to 5 AM to 7 AM, that's how fast I'm going to go. But everyone is sleeping and not on YouTube.
And that was the question I was going to ask, is what are you doing up at 5 in the morning? Still, doesn't sound like homework. I can expand it a little bit, is we do have high-speed internet now, and we can celebrate the fact we have it. It still isn't up to the capacity it can be. Where we're limited isn't locally, it's actually at the junction in Grand Rapids. Comstream Communications that provides CCN communication, fiber optic line up Highway 6. Where we jump off the tower to feed us here is limited in bandwidth from Manitoba Hydro. So the radios we have currently can handle up to about 500, 600 gigs. We're currently only running
You probably get some more. Get the few seconds. You have to get your minutes. Yep.